Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shalom.
What a pleasure to see you all tonight. I want to begin with the words of Psalm 133, which are very familiar to you. Hinei ma tov u'ma na'im, shevet achim gam yachad. Behold how good and how pleasant it is when a community of like-minded people can be dwelling here together. It's wonderful to welcome two communities here tonight. First, our in-person community in our sanctuary and our online community. We're so glad to have all of you here in this combined community of love and support and Shabbat and rest. For those who are for those whom we welcome online, we have some selected slides for some of the prayers that we'll be offering tonight. We are trying a new kind of video technique, so you can offer some comments about that, and we'd love to hear from you about that. And for those here in the sanctuary, we hope you have prayer books with you. Of course, they're by the door. We're using Mishkan Tefillah. We have regular versions, and we have the large print versions. I saw some people have that large print version. Frankly, I'm not sure the print is that much larger, but it is a little bit lighter, and maybe it's just easier to handle. If you have one of those large print versions, please be sure to listen for the page numbers that are in brackets at the bottom of the page. Those are the ones that we're going for, the ones in brackets. And if you remember that, everything will be fine. My friends, this is perhaps, for some of us, the first time we're walking into the sanctuary. And there, of course, are many people here who have been here many times. And whatever your status, whatever your reason for being here, we want you to feel that you belong here, regardless of your community of origin, regardless of your gender or sexual identity or Jewish background. We welcome you, and we want you to feel like you belong here. We hope to be able to embrace you on this night. We want to invite you to turn to page 129 in the prayer book, page 129, for Ki Eshmerah Shabbat. It's the second selection from the bottom, page 129.
Ki Eshmerah Shabbat, Ein Yishmereini. Ki Eshmerah Shabbat, Ein Yishmereini. Od ki leol me'ad, beino u'beini. Od ki leol me'ad, beino u'beini. Ki eshmerah Shabbat, el yishmereini. Ki eshmerah Shabbat, el yishmereini. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Indeed, this day is a day of rest. And Shabbat is supposed to be a day of rest when we get to luxuriate in a spiritual oasis, even in the heated times of our lives. And we try to quench the thirst of our inner angst and foment. May we all be successful in this task of feeling comfortable on this day. Yet I have to say, as people who advocate for and who act within the framework of Jewish values, we also this week are tasked with considering the vicious waves of political and physical violence that have crashed upon our country in recent times. Our nation's fabric is intentionally woven with many different threads and materials, all with different strengths and tolerances. And at least in my mind, we are knitted together in this diversity, and we are to use our individual powers to withstand the small breaches that are bound to occur between and among people and communities. So we are here in this week when we are particularly, perhaps some of us, thinking of that. And of course, left unchecked, a small tear can become a larger tear, can become a larger fissure. And so we all have to make sure that we are trying to avoid rupturing anymore. We may be confronting new fractures in our community. We may hopefully be confronting new periods and times of unity among Americans among members of the Jewish community and with other communities. And so as we continue and we move forward in these careful days, I do want us to be careful, and I want us to be watchful. I want to ask that we be careful with all those with whom we live, and I want all of us to be watchful for our own all too human tendencies that may well up from inside, and so to be sure that we are in good stead with one another, with the community, and with God, even though we may feel disturbances inside, that we feel good about ourselves in this community. I ask that we listen to the admonition of the prophet Jeremiah, who said that even in places of our dispersion, we are to seek peace in the cities where we live, and we are to honor that peace. So let us all be sure to seek peace wherever we live. I'd like to invite you to turn to page 127 in our Siddur. And we continue responsively at the top of the page. There are days when we seek things for ourselves and measure failure by what we do not gain.
On Shabbat, we ask not to acquire, but to share.
There are days when we exploit nature as if it were a horn of plenty that can never be exhausted.
On Shabbat, we stand in wonder before the mystery of creation.
There are days when we act as if we cared nothing for the rights of others.
On Shabbat, we remember that justice is our duty and a better world our goal.
So we embrace Shabbat, day of rest, day of wonder, day of peace. I would like to invite to the bima, please, Paula and Sal Caputo, who will be offering a meditation for us as we light our Shabbat candles. The bracha for the candle lighting is on page 120. Come and read that, and then light the candles, and then we'll offer the blessing.
For this, yeah. May the rays of these candles cast their glow upon us and bring the radiance of joy to all who dwell in darkness. May our homes be blessed with the spirit of truth and our dear ones with the light of love. May all our days be filled with happiness and achievement, with peace and contentment, for us and for others, for our families and friends, for all the people of the world.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner Shel Shabbat.
Page 142, Shalom Aleichem.
We're going to be doing a little bit of a newer version of Shalom Aleichem tonight. I'm sure some of you know this one, but maybe others of you don't. But I can promise you, by the time we get through this chorus a few times, you're going to know it like you've been singing it your whole life. Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem. Malachei Hasharet. Malachei Elyon. Malkei Hamlachim HaKadosh HaKadosh Baruch Hu Bochem L'Shalom Malkei HaShalom Malkei המלאכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. שלום עליכם. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barchuni l'shalom malachei shalom malachei elyon mi melech malachei hamlakim hakadosh baruch hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem l'shalom malachei shalom malachei elyon mi melech malachei hamlakim hakadosh baruch hu. Shalom aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
We continue with Kabbalat Shabbat, page 138, Lecha Dodi. We'll be offering 4 verses tonight, numbers 1, 2, 5, and 9, I think, right?
Yes.
And then for the last verse, we'll be asking people to rise in body or in spirit. That's what we try to do. And to face the door as we symbolically welcome the Shabbat to our community. But we now begin on page 138.
Lechatoti li kakalai alalai 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 le Shabbat lekavela. Lechatoti li kakalai alalai 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 le Shabbat lekavela. Zamor v'zachor v'dibur echad ישמיענו העם יוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה. לך תודי לי ככלה, יללה יללה יללה, לשבת נקבלה. לך תודי לי ככלה, יללה יללה יללה, לשבת Kabbalah, Al Shabbat, Lechurnecha, Ki Mekor Averacha. Victory, Kiva over Kumiori. כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. היי לך תודי לי כלה ידלה 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 ונשת לקבלה. לך תודי לי כלה ידלה 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 ונשת לקבלה. בוגי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך תודי לי כלה, יאללה 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 בני שבת לקבלה. לך תודי לי כלה, יאללה 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 בני שבת לקבלה.
And on page 140 is a psalm for Shabbat, a psalm of great gratitude for all of the acts of creation that we are entitled to encounter. Page 140, Mizmor Shir.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. להגיד בבוקר חסדך, ומולדתך בלילות, עלי עשור ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון דחיו. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. כי שימחתני אדוני בפועלך, במעשה ידיך רנן. מה גדול מעשיך אדוני, מאוד עמקו מחשבותיך. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. עליון.
I'd like to invite Dina Bedak and Lori Sellis to please come forward. They'll be helping to open the Ark in a few minutes as we begin Ma'ariv. But I would only at this point offer some words from someone much wiser than I, from Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel of blessed memory. He shares this in the prayer book with us, in our prayer book, but he also asks us to consider what this means. He wrote, "A thought has blown the marketplace away. There is a song in the wind and a joy in the trees. The Shabbat arrives in the world, scattering a song in the silence of the night. Eternity utters a day." What could that mean for us? What songs will we hear on this Shabbat? What will we hear by our ears? What will we hear by our hearts? How will we be moved to be with other people, to help other people? How will we make this day indeed a day of rest for us all? We invite the community to rise in body and in spirit as we go to the Reader's Kaddish, page 144.
Yitgadol v'yitgadash shemei Rabba.
Amen.
Belma divrak yutev yamlik malkutei b'chayechon uv'yonechon ufchaye dekol beit Yisrael bagala bagala uvizman kariv v'yimeru
Amen.
Yehi shemei Rabba mevorach le'olam ol'almei almaya
Yitbarach.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitfar v'yitromam v'yitnasei v'yithadar v'yitale v'yitalal shemei t'kudusha
Berichu.
Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata damiran bi'alama v'imeru.
Amen. Page 146.
Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai. Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach ve'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai.
I'm offering a prayer on page 147. If you'd like to read along, please feel free to do so. O God, you are as near as the very air we breathe, yet farther than the farthermost star. We yearn to reach you. We seek the light and warmth of your presence. Though we say you are near, we are lonely and alone. Oh, let our desire be so strong that it will tear the veil that keeps you from our sight. Let your light release our darkness and reveal the glory and joy of your presence.
Baruch atah Adonai Hamari v'aravim.
Amen. We continue on 150 at the top.
Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Amecha avta Amecha avta Torah u'mitzvot Ukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadeta Otanu limadeta Alekin Adonai Eloheinu b'shofenu V'kumenu nasiach b'chokecha V'nizmach b'divrei Toratecha מצוותיך לעולם ועד, כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגי יומם בלילה, נגי יומם בלילה. אהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים, ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל, אוהב עמו ישראל.
Page 152.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
You may be seated, and we continue at the top of 154.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם נאות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
On page 157 at the middle, we continue responsively. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and in peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea. 158.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות, עושה פלא. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש.
We offer Hashkivenu on page 160 as a way of actually we don't have that in the, I don't think we have the words of there. Sorry, we're missing the words. You know these words, I think, but they're not printed somewhere. So
They're not printed in this Siddur, but
Right.
we know this version very well.
You do. So before, I want to offer just a little meditation, but I did have to give that disclaimer because I realized we don't have it. But dear God, help us all through the difficult days in our lives with the promise of renewal of our bodies and souls. Help us to face the questions we sometimes wish to avoid. Help us to accept truths that we sometimes may not find comfortable. May the words of our mouths, the meditations of our hearts, and the works of our hands keep us protected, as vulnerable as we may be, as we go out into this very complicated world. We continue with this version of Hashkivenu. Your cantor knows what you know, so that's good.
We know it so well, we can sing it all together. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Lishalom, Lishalom, V'hamidenu Shomreinu L'chaim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Amen. Shelter us beneath your wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. 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 Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim.
Amen. Page 162, Our Covenant of Shabbat, Vishamru, at the top of the page.
Shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam, berit olam. Israel et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam, berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, oti leholam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, אות היא לעולם. ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש. בהני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. בהני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם, ברית עולם, ברית עולם.
Some may ask the reason why at the beginning of the tefillah that we invoke the name of our matriarchs and patriarchs. Why bring up Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and Sarah, Rebecca, Leah, and Rachel? In a way, we are pledging our behaviors to them and what they did, and we understand their deeds to be extremely righteous and important, even though as we read about them, they are flawed human beings, all of them. And yet still, we have a certain amount of responsibility that we have to their memories. But let us also not neglect our own accountability that we have to ourselves and our own integrity and our own responsibilities in this world as we go forth and make this world a better place. We have responsibility and accountability to them, our ancestors, to ourselves, to those of us whom we love, whether they are older or younger, whether they are differently skinned or the same skinned and differently gendered or the same gendered. We have responsibility to all the people in this world. Let us continue with the tefillah with this in mind as we pledge to continue to make this world, if we can, a much better place to be. The tefillah begins on page 164, and we invite the community to rise in body or in spirit as we join with one another in these opening brachot of tefillah, on the Hebrew side only, for the next few pages.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi agit tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. האין הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו ואהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל. מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים. ומקיים באמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום מהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
We continue now silently with the remainder of the tefillah. It goes through page 183 approximately, and we'll meet you back on page 180 when we're all ready. And please be seated or remain standing as is your custom.
יהיו לרצון אמרי פיו, והגיון ליבי לפניך אדוני. לפניך אדוני.
On page 371 is our prayer for healing and wholeness. It's Misha Berach. Many of us are familiar with that prayer. And again, we don't know how God operates in the realm of healing, really. We see descriptions perhaps in the Torah, but sadly, we don't live with the same merits of our ancestors. And so we have to live in different worlds. But we do know that when someone learns that we're praying on their behalf, that actually raises their spirits. It actually helps them. And so these are the people whom we're thinking about on this night, the folks who have been placed on our healing list, and we'll be asking for input from our community here tonight as well. But tonight we are especially thinking about James Albert, Tyson Anderley, Cecilia Agnotti, Anne Beauchamp, David Lev Ben Marjorie, Ariel Ben Miriam, Antoinetta Caputo, Sandra Chelsea, David Cox, Brett Derman, Liz Fairman, David Foreman, Gina Ginsburg, Michael Glass, Margus Gonzalez, Susan Harner, Catherine Hart, Jeff Hershenson, Joanne Hopper, Kathy Huss, Bob Jastro, Daniel Kincaid, Courtney Kleinbrile, Joshua Kleinbrile, Donna Leibowitz, Aaron Medej, Jerry Mavrinash, Nicholas Morgan, Joel Nachman, David Niles, Valerie Parker, Eileen Penman, Edith Rose, Denise Root, Terry Shear, Lori Sellis, David Solin, Serena Solin, Daniel Sullivan, Barbara Tenenbaum, Joni Thompson, Addie Grace Thompson, Judy Tyrus, Jennifer Wurtzel. Other people in this worship community tonight here in the sanctuary may have other names of people they're thinking about. If you would like to add names to this list, I invite you to do so.
Jeremy Peterman.
Rav Miriam Bat David Ve'anat, Ruth Greenbaum. Are there anybody else, any other names we should be thinking about on this night, friends? Dear God, aloud and in our hearts, we name those facing illness and pain. We join our prayers to the prayers of all who love them. Page 371 at the middle here.
Let's sing together. Mishebegira avotenu mikor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishebegira imotenu mikor habracha leravotenu. Bless those in need of healing, say, Amen.
Toda. Is there a blessing for the changing of the microphone? We're going to change microphones here for a second. Sorry.
May God bless and keep the microphone in good working order.
And the right distance from each of our mouths.
Right.
So the consistent distance. It shouldn't be the right difference. It's like the consistent difference, because that's how these things work. Thank you. All right. I think this could work. Oh, good. All right. It works great. Okay. So, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Shalom. I want to offer a little story. And if you like stories, please listen. And I hope you like stories. There's no alternative to that, by the way. A long time ago, Jacobo and Esperanza were two Spanish Jews who fled Spain because they had to. Jews were kicked out of Spain by 1492. They made their way to the land of Israel, and they made their way to the town of Tzfat. Now, the town of Tzfat in Israel, or you may see it in tourist books as Safed, but in Hebrew is Tzfat. The town of Tzfat was a place where mysticism grew. Now, Jacobo and Esperanza did not understand Hebrew very well, even though Hebrew became a living language in the land of Israel. So they went to the synagogue in Tzfat. There was a lot of mysticism going on in Tzfat, but they heard the rabbi say something really interesting. They heard the rabbi say something in some Torah portion about bread, something about bread being placed on the altar where all the sacrifices were taking place. Now again, Jacobo and Esperanza were learning Hebrew. They didn't catch every single word of the sermon, but Jacobo came home and he discussed with Esperanza the fact that if we want to honor God, we have to bring bread to the altar, which means to like the Holy Ark, where the Torah scrolls were kept. And they said, yes, that's a great idea. So the following Friday, Esperanza and Jacobo worked really hard in their kitchen, and they created 12 loaves of bread, the same 12 loaves of bread that are mentioned in the Torah that you're supposed to bring. I think some translations, some translations call it showbread. I don't know what that means, but that's an old translation. And they brought it to the ark secretly because they didn't want anyone to see what they were doing. And they opened up the curtain of the ark, and they had with them a beautiful plate of, oops, this was not the prop that I was hoping to use. So we're going to use a different prop. We're going to change, and we're going to make the switch. This particular prop, I think that's fine. This is the prop. They had 12 beautiful rolls of challah that they brought to the ark, and that they now secretly, because no one was there, they brought it to the ark. And they made a prayer, and they said, dear God, we know that you need bread in order to make sacrifices, and so we are presenting you, God, with this beautiful bread. This is Hawaiian rolls, by the way, in case you were wondering. Not for the oneg tonight, please. This is simply for our use here. But we're going to place these in the ark for you because we know that you need them. And they placed it into the ark, and then they walked away. And they knew that God was going to take that challah, and the next morning when they opened up the ark and they read from the Torah, there wouldn't be a crumb left. And they left. Now, at that very moment, the shamus came into the temple. Now, the shamus is like the maintenance person. But the shamus in those days didn't get paid. But he said, dear God, I'm so poor, and people in this land are so hungry, and I know that I'm supposed to be doing all my work here for free, and I'm supposed to be offering my services to you, God, but please, maybe there's something that you could offer. And he began to smell freshly baked bread, and he said, maybe there's something you could offer me. And he followed his nose, and he followed the smell, and he opened up the ark, and what did he see? He saw 12 beautiful rolls. And he said, dear God, you answered my prayers. And he took the rolls home with him. And that was the receiving of his prayer that day. Now, the next day, Jacobo and Esperanza were in the congregation. In those days, in those synagogues, there was a divider between the men and the women's section. Jacobo was here, Esperanza was here. And they noticed that when the rabbi opened the ark to take the Torah scroll out to read it, there was no bread. Not a crumb. And Jacobo and Esperanza were so happy. Then they said to themselves, we should do this every week because God really enjoys the fact that we bring bread to God. So the very next week, they brought 12 beautiful halot, 12 beautiful halot to the ark, and they placed them in the ark secretly, and then they went away, and they left. And at that very moment, the shamus comes in, and the shamus says, oh, God, here I am again. I'm cleaning up the... What is that? And he opens up the ark, and he sees that there are 12 beautiful loaves there. And he says, my God, you have answered my prayer. Thank you so much. And he takes the bread, and he goes home. Now, this little mistaken identity drama plays out for 30 years. Every week, Jacobo and Esperanza bring their their halot, to the ark, and every week the shamus comes and collects what he thinks is a blessing from God. And for 30 years this goes on. And one time, about 30 years later, Jacobo and Esperanza were a little bit delayed in their coming. They were just a little bit delayed. And as they were placing the halot into the ark for that particular week, there's a tap on Jacobo's shoulder. And it wasn't the shamus, it was the rabbi. And the rabbi was so curious, what are you doing? Why are you putting bread with the Torah scrolls? And Jacobo and Esperanza say, well, that's what we're supposed to be doing. That's what the Torah says. And actually, Rabbi, we've been doing this for 30 years. And the rabbi said, it's not exactly the same thing. And then they explained, well, every Saturday morning we come and the bread is gone. So we assume that God takes the bread for the divine self. And the rabbi said, there's got to be a different solution to this question. Let's sit back, let's sit in the corner, and let's sit in the shadows and hide, and let's see what happens. So the rabbi and Jacobo and Esperanza go and they sit in the corner in the shadows, and it's at that moment when the shamus comes in for his weekly, for 30 years, remember, for his weekly dose or his weekly gift of halot that he had. And at that point, the rabbi and Jacobo and Esperanza come forward, and the rabbi says first to Jacobo and Esperanza, you both have to tell this poor shamus what you've been doing. And they acknowledge to the shamus that, yes, we've been supplying halot for 30 years. We thought that that's what God wanted, but the rabbi says God doesn't need challah because God doesn't eat. God doesn't need challah. God doesn't need 12 rolls. But we've been bringing it here and we've been seeing it disappear. And then the rabbi says to the shamus, and now you have to confess and you have to tell up what happened to you. And the shamus said, well, I came here one day 30 years ago and I made a prayer and there was bread in the ark and I thought it was for me, so I took it home. And it's been there every year for 30 years, every week for 30 years. And the rabbi looked at both of these sets of people and the rabbi said, you know what? You each have been doing a mitzvah and receiving a mitzvah. Because even though God didn't eat the bread, you, Jacobo and Esperanza, you have actually been providing a mitzvah to the shamus. Because he took those 12 halot home and he was able to feed his family. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to do that. So now, says the rabbi, now I would like you simply to eliminate the middle person. And every week, Jacobo and Esperanza would like to invite you to continue to make your 12 loaves. But now you can deliver them directly to the shamus. You don't have to put them in the ark anymore. And that's the story of mistaken identity, but for a good reason. And I'm going to now put the priority challah on top for later purposes. Shabbat Shalom. Who is going to be offering announcements tonight? I want to invite Arnold Bedak, the president of the Board of Trustees of Temple Emanuel of Tempe, to come forward and offer announcements on this Erev Shabbat.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Rabbi, for your tasty teaching. It's great to see everybody in person, and Shabbat Shalom to everybody out there on live stream and on Zoom. As you know, we're a warm and inclusive community, and everybody knows that I call everybody here into my group hug, so I'm going to give you my group hug this evening. We have some announcements this evening. They'll be in this brochure, but before I do, I'd like to have all the board members who are in attendance to please stand up. If you're new to our congregation or you're visiting for the first time, please introduce yourselves to one of us so that we can get to know you better. And we appreciate that. So live and in living color, we have a few announcements. Our oneg, sponsored by the temple immediately after the service this evening. Torah study tomorrow morning on Zoom with Rabbi Jonathan at 9:15. Followed by Shabbat morning service, also with Rabbi Jonathan at 10:30. Both of those on Zoom. Reminder that Mo has the blood drive on Sunday, August 18th. And public school has already gone back to school, but we're about to get ready for religious school. So on August 4th, from 1 to 2 o'clock, we have religious school event, which is Meet Your Teacher. And opening day for religious school will be August 11th at 9:30, and Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom. Who's hungry? That's right. We got to hustle up to finish the service so we can go eat at the Oneg. Okay, I would be remiss if I did not offer a little musical commentary on Rabbi's Drash tonight. So we heard the story, of Jacobo and Esperanza, and also the Rabbi and the Shamus. And although things didn't turn out, exactly how everybody had planned, everybody's heart was in the right place. And that's what we're going to sing about on page 642 tonight. And this speaks to our heart here in this sanctuary this evening. We know where our heart is, and we know what our heart seeks. Our heart seeks Adonai. So we're going to sing Eile Chamda Libi. These are the desires of my heart. Eile Chamda Libi. Let's sing it together. Eile Chamda Libi. Hosanna ve'ala titalem. Eile Chamda Libi. Hosanna ve'ala titalem. Eile Chamda Libi, 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 Hosanna ve'ala titalem.
Todah Rabbah, what great spirit. Great spirit. I want to invite now to the Bima to help open the ark doors for Aleinu, David Cox, and Kathy Wilson. Please join us. And we want to invite the community to rise in body or in spirit as we continue with Aleinu. Page 586. Page 586 in the prayer book. 586 at the middle of the page. 586 at the middle.
Aleinu lishabeach ladon hakol, latit gdula liotzer bereshit, shelo asanu kigoyi haratzot, velo samanu kimishvechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'goralenu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim ומשתחווים ומונים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. 591 ונאמר וחי אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
You may be seated. Zecher Tzadik Livracha, may the memory of the righteous always be a blessing. There are those whom we remember because they made our lives full. There are those whom we remember because it is our duty to do so. However and whyever we remember our loved ones, we stand upon their shoulders whether we know it or not, and we see farther, we accomplish more things because of the way that they influenced our lives, because of what they accomplished for us, and so we are ever grateful. My friends, these are those who passed away in recent days and people whose Yartzeiten occur at this time. We are remembering the following individuals. Connected to our community, these loved ones who passed away in the last 30 days, we remember Dennis Hanovich, cousin of Patty Glascombe. We remember Dr. Gloria Foyer Strickland, aunt of Dr. Valerie Parker. And tonight we also are observing these Yartzeiten that occur at this time. In continuing dedication to the memories, we remember Esther Andes, Kenneth Blacker, Stephen Barry Block, Edith Dosick, Florence B. Flegenheimer, Carolee Garvey, Ben Goldfeller, Harold Goldstein, Harvey Helsner, Alvin Lentz, Phyllis Messing, Bruce Pollock, Shmuel Shahar, Isidore Simon, Isabella Zeitlin, Sam Zeitlin. We are always mindful, too, of the victims of the October 7 murders and massacre in Israel and all innocent victims of the Middle East violence. We remember with grace and with love. There may be other people in this community tonight who are remembering other individuals for many reasons. And if you would like to add your loved ones or friends' name to this list, I invite you to do so now. Others whom we should be remembering on this night? Zichronam livracha, may their memories be blessings for us and in our hearts and our minds, and for all those who knew and loved them. Testifying to the faith that binds the generations of humanity together, I now invite us to turn to page 598, and we rise as a community as we offer, in body or in spirit, as we offer the mourner's Kaddish. Page 598. Please join one another. Yitgadal, Yitkadash Shemei Rabbah, Be'alma Divra Chirutei, V'yamlich Malchutei, B'chayechon Uvyomechon, U'v'chayei Dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala Uvizman Kariv, V'imru Amen, Yehei Shemei Rabbah, Mevarach Le'alam U'lalmei Almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shmei dekudsha b'richu le'ela min kol bir chata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen Osei shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru. Amen. Please be seated. I'd like to invite forward, please, Aaron Bauman and Georgie Bauman and Isaac and Naomi, who are going to help us with the Kiddush and Motzi. The text for all of this begins on page 604. Come over to the microphone. Sorry, come over to the microphone. One of those occasions when props become very necessary. So enjoy. But on page 604, we offer kiddush for everybody, for whatever beverage you have.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Chaim.
It's delicious. They finished it all. Amazing. And now for the real challah, we ask you to offer brachot on page 606, bracha on page 606, and we get to share some of this beautiful challah that Sorel provided for us yet again.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam,
Hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'tei avon.
Shabbat shalom, everybody. Oh,
Shabbat
we
shalom.
have some music to play too.
I know you know this one. Romimmu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavo lehakodesho. Romimmu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavo lehakodesho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romimmu. Let me hear you. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romimmu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavo lehakodesho. Romimmu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavo lehakodesho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romimmu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romimmu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavo lehakodesho. Romimmu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavo lehakodesho. Shabbat shalom. May God go with you.